Valid hay.
I'm sorry.
Valid hay.
Holiday. Right. Um, I messed something up. Yeah, here we go. If the sorry, if a bull gores a man and he dies, if a bull is a muad, his owner pays the ransom. If he is Tom, he is exempt from ransom. Both are liable to death. The same applies to a male child, and same applies to a female child. If he gores a male slave or a female slave, its owner pays a 30 salem, whether it was worth a manam or whether it was worth more than a dinner. Um, okay. If a bull was rubbing itself against a wall and it fell upon a man, or if it aimed to kill, or a beast or a man, and it killed a man, a gentle, and it killed a Gentile and killed a Jew, non-viable infants, and killed a viable child, he's exempt. A bull of a woman full of a bull of orphans, a bull of an administrator, a bull of the wild, this wilderness, a will consecrated to the temple, a bull of a proselyte who died and left no heirs. These are liable to death. Rabbi Yehuda says a bull of the wilderness, a bull consecrated to the temple, and a bull of proselyte who died are exempt from death since they have no owners. Okay.
Okay. Ches. Shor shehu yotze lehisakel. So the ox has already been sentenced to death and it's being taken out to be stoned. V'hik disho ba'alav, and the owner decided now is a good time to sanctify it, to be makdish it to the temple. Eino Mukdash. Sorry, it's not yours. It's now been it's no longer in your hands to do such a thing. It's no longer Mukdash. Shchato, and if he shechted it on the way, Basaro Asur, it already is Asur Bahana, like a Shora Niskal, the din of a Shora Niskal is that there's an Isur Hana on it. Um, V'im ad shelo nigmar dino. However, if before it was sentenced, he knew that what was coming, he decided, I'm going to be makdishit to the temple, or he says, v'im shchato, or he shechted it before. Then it is the meat is actually mutar. Until it's actually been sentenced by Beit Din to skila, the bull is still like a regular bull, and it's mutar b'hana. Now, if he sanctifies it, it doesn't make any difference because according to the maskana of or to the majority opinion in the previous Mishnah, remember we said that a shore that belongs to Hekdesh still gets skila. So
Right.
he's not saving it. But all that he's effectively doing is he's saying that anyone who in between now and when it's Niskal benefits from it now has to pay Me'ila. They've committed Me'ila and they've got to bring a korban for that. So we're just talking about is it effective in that respect, but it's not going to change the outcome. However, shechting the animal means it ends up as dinner instead of as a Shara Niskal. Okay. Saro l'shomer chinam v'lashoel. If he if he gave over a bull, an animal, we're not talking about the Shara skull anymore. We're just talking about any animal. If he gives it over to a guardian, whether it's a shemar chinam, a borrower, a nosei sachar, a paid guardian, or a socher, or a renter, then the person who's in charge of it now is considered the Baalim. He has replaced the Baalim in all respects in terms of being Muad and Tam and whatever. And if it causes damages, he's the one who's now responsible. Muad Mishalem Nezek Shalem, the Tam Mishalem Chati Nezek. And if it's and it now does it maintain I think it was a machlokes as to whether it maintains its previous status if it was a muad, but over here it's saying that muad mishalem nezik shalem. If the shore was a muad, then whoever takes over the guardianship has got to know that it's a muad, and he's got to guard it accordingly. Okay, so if it causes damages, he's going to be liable for them. Kisharo ba'alav b'mosera, v'nal b'fanav kira'oi. Okay, so the owner of the animal tied it up properly, put it inside a fence that was locked, as was a normal thing to do with animals to look after them. make sure they don't escape. V'hizik, and the animal somehow managed to escape. Whether it jumped the fence, knocked down the fence, dug under the fence, whatever the case is, it got out and it caused damage. Echad tam ve'echad muad chayav divrei Rabbi Meir. So Rabbi Meir says, sorry, um, just regular locking up of an animal is not enough to exempt you from nezik if it happens to get out. I mean, you did the right thing. We're not nobody's saying you're a bad person for not locking it up. But if you want to avoid having to pay damages for what your animal did, then you have to
Mm.
like really lock it up in a very secure way so that you can claim that if you want to be able to claim that, oh, this is an honest I don't know what kind of animal. Nobody could have been expected to look after an animal that much. So that says Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda Omer tam chayav umuad patur. Now, when we're saying patur, that patur is actually doing a lot of work. The tam is chayav. He says he agrees with Rabbi Meir that if a tam animal escapes from a normal enclosure and damages, then it pays chatzi nezek. But he says a muad that escapes does not pay nezek shalem. He pays only chatzi nezek. Okay, shenemar velo yishmerenu ba'alav, because the pasuk says velo yishmerenu ba'alav. If he only has to pay the damage, the full damage, if the owner didn't guard it, and here the owner guarded it. So then we treat it as a tam in terms of the nezik, not as a muad. So it's not completely patur. Okay, the shamur of this one was guarded. Rabbi Eliezer Omer. Ein lo shmira ela sakin. Rabbi Eliezer says, once an animal is a muad, um, no shmira is good enough to exempt you. The only way that the only way that you can guard this animal is with a knife, right? Shecht it. If you've got an animal that's a muad and you're worried that it's going to cause damages, it's not going to help you to lock it up. Because even if you lock it up and it gets out, you're still going to pay nezik shalem, says Rabbi Eliezer. And that's the difference between them. So they got the three levels. Rabbi Meir says it says it doesn't. You have to have a guarding plus in order to exempt you from nezek. Rabbi Huda says that regular guarding is enough to reduce the damages of a muad to the damages of a tam. And Rabbi Eliezer says anytime that it doesn't matter how much you guard a muad, it'll be nezik shalem, and the only thing that you can do to get out of it is to shecht it. Okay, Berkaib. Shor shenagach is a para. V'nimtza ubara betzida. Okay, so we saw from a distance that that this bull killed the cow. Okay, but what we didn't know was whether it gave birth to the calf before or after the attack. Okay, so we know that the cow for sure is going to be chayav chatzi nezek on. But what about the ubar? Does he have to pay for the damages to the newborn calf as well? So says the Tana here, he pays half damages for the cow and quarter damages for the blood. Now this immediately, as soon as you see something like this, where you have a suffix and the damager and the damagee are splitting the damages, we know that this is sumchus. The Tana called sumchus. He has a unique shita among Chazal that if there's a suffix in a zikin, you pay chatzi chatzi. He is a minority opinion. This is not the actual halacha. So this Mishnah is taught according to Sumchus. And the actual thing is that hamotzi mechavera alav haraya. That is our standard fallback is hamotzi mechavera alav haraya. If you want to claim money from me, prove it. You can't say caught in nezik on the blood. Pain para shenag chaysa shor. What happens if it's the other way around? if a pregnant cow or a cow, we're not sure if it was pregnant or had given birth yet. We saw that the cow damaged the ox. Okay, it was a tam cow, and Nimtza Vlada Batida, and then the witnesses who saw it goring, came to closer to the scene, and they found that there's this newborn calf on the ground. And now the owner is going to have to pay chati nezek, but what's the thing? Remember, it's from the goof of the animal that's doing the nezek, so it can never exceed the value of the animal. Now, what if it's a small cow, or even to make the point more, say it was a pregnant goat that went and attacked a whole big cow. Okay, so the cow is worth obviously a lot more than the goat. So now the Nizak is going to want to say, well, this goat was pregnant at the time, so now I want to be able to claim the Chati Nezek from the full value of the goat and the Vlad, and the Nizak is going to want to say, no, no, it gave birth before attacking, so you can't touch my Vlad. You can't. Okay. Okay, but we don't know whether it attacked before or after giving birth. He pays half of the day. He pays chatzi nezek from the para, and because we're not sure which way the to go. Again, it's Sumchas talking. Remember, Ravia nezek min havlad. He says a quarter nezek from the vlad, and that is not the halacha because we say amotzi mechaver alav araya. Okay,
All right.
Beis Aleph.
Why am I missing that?
Beis Aleph. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, oh, okay. In what way is Rego considered muad? To break as it walks, the animal is muad to walk in its usual manner and break. If it was kicking or if pebbles were flying from under its feet or it broke vessels, he pays half the amount of damages. If he slipped on a vessel and broke it, and if he fell on a vessel and broke it, or the first one he pays the full damages, and the second one he pays half. Fowl are considered mu'adin to walk in their usual manner and break. If a thread was tied to his feet or if it was jumping and it broke vessels, he pays half the damages. In what way is a shin considered mu'ad? To what it what to eat what is fit for it? The animal is mu'ad to eat fruits and vegetables. If it ate garments or vegetables, it pays half the damages. In what regard were these words said? On the premises of the damagee. But in a public domain, he is exempt. If he benefit paid for what is benefited. How does he pay for what is benefited? If he ate from the middle of the street, he pays for what is benefited from the sides of the street. He pays for what is damaged from the entrance for the store. He pays for what is benefits from inside the store, and he pays for what is damaged. Okay. Um,
The dog and the goat.
right. Yeah, if a dog in her coat jumped off the top of a rock and broke vessels, its owner pays the full damages because they're mu'adim. If a dog cooked a cake and went to its stack of grain, ate the cake and ignited the stack of grain, for the cake, the owner pays the full damages. For the stack of grain, he pays half the damages. Okay.
Okay.
It's a okay. Vav, hey Vav. A deaf mute gestures and its gestures to a
Hey
bamboozle.
Zion. Yeah, yeah, that's right. You're sorry. You're right. You're,
Right.
you're reading the right one. You said the wrong number, but
A deaf mute gestures and it's gestured to Ben Sarah. However, he says he moves his lips and is communicated by means of lip movements and transactions involving chattels. Young children's purchases are purchases and the sales are sales and transactions involving chattels. These things were planned in the interest of peace. A Kohen reads first, and after Malavi, and then after Yisrael, in the interest of peace. An Erev is placed in the same house as before, and in the interest of peace. A cistern nearest to the channel is filled first in the interest of peace. Traps for beasts, birds, feasts are covered by the laws of theft. In the interest of peace, Rabbi Yossi says it is an actual theft. An article found by a deaf, mute, or mentally deranged person or a minor is covered by the laws of theft. In the interest of peace, Rabbi Yossi says it is an actual theft. If a poor man's cutting is at the top of an olive tree, to take what lies below him is considered theft. In the interest of peace, Rabbi Yossi says it is an actual theft. Poor Gentiles are not prevented from collecting gleanings, forgotten sheaves, or the unpicked corners of fields in the interest of peace. A woman may lend to a friend whether she was suspect regarding produce of the sabbatical year, a sifter, a sieve, a handmill, or an oven, but she may not winnow or grind with her. The wife of a scholar may lend a sifter or a slave to sleeve to a slave of an unarmed person, and he may winnow, grind, and salt grind with her. But from when she pours the water, she may not help her because it all forbid assist transgressions. All of these were stated only in the interest of peace. Gentiles may be encouraged during the sabbatical year, but not a Jew, and they may be greeted in the interest of peace. On to the Subas. Okay, Yud Aleph Chet, Yud Ha'Hei. The appraisal of the judges who unvalued the property by a sixth or undervalued it by a sixth is valid. Reb Shimon Ben Gamil says their sale is valid. Otherwise, what value has the power of the court? But if they drew up a deed of inspection, even if they sold property worth 100 zoos for 200 or 100 property worth 200 for 200 for 100, their sale is valid. A minor who exercised the right of refusal, a relative of the second degree, an alonus, are not entitled to ketubah or sustenance or worn out articles. But if from the outset he married her knowing that she was an alonus, she is entitled to ketubah. A widow married to a Kohen Gadol or divorced to a woman who had performed chalitza married to an ordinary Kohen, a mamzeris or a Nesonite married to a regular Jew, and the daughter of a regular Jew married to a Nesonite or a mamzet are entitled to a ketubah. If one marries a woman and she stipulated that with him that he supports her daughter for 5 years, he is obligated to support her for 5 years. If she marries another man and she stipulates to him that he supported her for 5 years, he is still obligated to support her for 5 years. The first one shall not say, when she comes to me, I will support her. Rather, he must take her sustenance to the place where her mother is. Likewise, both of them shall not say, we will support her together. Rather, one must support her and the other must give value of her sister sustenance. Okay.
Okay.
If she married,
That's it. That's it. Yeah. Next up, Ireland.
Caravan. Okay, if she, okay, this is above Tet. Two courtyards are one behind the other. If the inner made an Arab, but the outer did not, the inner is permitted while the outer is prohibited. The outer must, but not the inner, both are prohibited. Each courtyard made its own Arab, then each is individually permitted. Rabbi Akiva prohibits the outer because the rite of passage restricts it, but the sages say the rite of passage does not restrict it. If one resident of the outer forgot to contribute to the Arab, the inner is permitted while the center outer is prohibited. From the inner forgot, both are prohibited. If they place the Erev in one place, so one resident of either the inner or the outer forgot to contribute to the Erev, both are prohibited. But if they were inhabited by individuals, they need not make an Erev. A window between two courtyards, if it is 4 by 4 fists within 10, they may make two Erevin. Or if they wish, they make one Erev less than 4 by 4 or higher than 10, and they may make two Erevin, but it may not make one Erev.
Okay.
All right. I don't know what's this. Okay, both. Okay, we have Yud base. A mattress or cushion where the weather requires the water should enter into them, but a round pillow or ball of stuff to form an amulet or tefillah do not require the water should enter into it. This is a general rule. Everything whose contents are usually put in and taken out may be immersed in unopened. The following knots do not require the water that should enter into them. Knots of the poor man's clothing, clothes of the poor man's clothes and fringes, a sandal thong, or a tefillah of the head if it is light. If it's a tefillah of the arm, it does not move up and down. Of a water skin is a pouch lug. The following knots do not require that the water should enter them: the knot of the soldier of the undershirt, the knot of the edge of the sheet, one also has to spread it out. The knot of the tefillah of the head is not tight of tefillah, but of the arm it moves down and up sandal straps. Clothes that are immersed when washed need only be immersed until they produce bubbles. But if they are immersed when they dry, they must stay immersed until they produce bubbles and cease bubbling.
Okay.
And we are on to
Colin.
Colin. Excellent. We have chest, taste base. The skins of the following are like the skins of the skin of a man, the skin of a domestic pig, Rosie says. Also, the skin of a wild pig, the skin of a hump of a tender camel, the skin of the head of a young calf, the skin of the hooves, the skin of the puenda, the skin of the fetus, the skin of the fat tail, and the skin of the hedgehog, the chameleon, the lizard, and the snail. The Yehuda says the lid is like the weasel, but any of them that was tanned or trodden, as long as they were five for canning, is tahor, except for the skin of a man. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nori says the skin, it says that 8 siratzim have skin. If one flails in either an animal or a beast, either kosher or non-kosher, either small or large, or for a spread, enough to grasp it for a flask until he flays the beast. If he flays for the feet, it is called considered attached as regards tuma, both contact tuma and tuve tuma. The skin on the neck, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nori says, is not considered attached, but the sages said it's considered attached until it flays it completely. If the hide has an olive value, a flesh on it, who touches a shred of the bruise from it, or a hair that opposite is tame. If there were two half olive-sized pieces of flesh on it, it conveys tumor through carrying, but not through contact. These are the words of Rabbi Ishmael. Rabbi Akiva says neither through contact nor through carrying. But Rabbi Akiva says bees that are one thrust of chip or two through two half olive pieces and move them, he is tame. Then why does Akiva declare the tahara when they are on the hide? Because the hides render them negligible. Okay.
Okay.
All right, great.
All right.
Okay.
Have a wonderful Shabbos.
Have a great Shabbos. Enjoy. It's supposed to be beautiful. Everything's supposed to be great. Okay,
Okay.
be well.